Good morning, everyone, and thank you for starting your day off with me. I'm Jenna Stauffer. Now, I know the image you see behind me probably makes you want to jump back into bed, but please don't do that. This is just the cover to my first guest this morning's newest book. Now, he's a recently published author, but he's definitely not new to the world of writing. He's always written, whether it's been for newspapers, for magazines, or for plays. Now, his name is Rodney Ross, and I think you should get familiar with that because you're going to hear it much, much more. He recently relocated to Key West just about 3 years ago, and he's originally from Indiana, so I love him already. What I like is that his mother's name is Diana Ross, so Rodney says that it left little to chance that he'd be supreme. Rodney, thank you for being with me.
Thank you so much for having me this morning, Jenna.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you here, and I just love that, Rodney. Your mother was Diana Ross.
Diana Ross. She is, since she got married in 1960, she has heard this for the last 52 years at airports. Every time she writes a check, people say, "Sing me a song," you know. So it's sort of become a little routine, like Abbott and Costello. When I travel with my mother, Diana Ross, we sort of have this little comedy routine that we do.
And so do you tell people that? Like, I have Diana Ross.
Oh, yes. The last book signing I had here in Key West, I actually advertised that in the bonus round is not only do you get to meet me, but you get to meet Diana Ross. So imagine people's surprise when they came in and there's a white woman in dressy sweats smiling, going, "Hi, I'm Diana Ross."
That's great.
Yeah, it was. It was funny.
I love it. Okay, Rodney. Now, as I mentioned, you recently just moved to Key West.
Indeed.
Okay, so where were you before Key West?
I grew up in a small town in Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, Frankfort, Indiana, population about 14,000 or so, between Lafayette and Indianapolis. From there, I went to Butler University, majored in English and journalism, and then sort of segued into advertising. Once I realized I probably could make a great living telling the truth as a journalist, I thought, oh, I'll tell lies in advertising. And I did that then for the next 30 years or so, until at age 47 or so, I and my partner decided to relocate down here full time. And that's when the novel muse sort of lit on my shoulder, and I started writing The Cool Part of His Pillow.
Okay, so this book, the one that you just released, it didn't happen until you came here to Key West.
Not really. I had the idea, but I really didn't have the time because I was working in advertising. And the last thing you want to do after 8 hours of writing all day, commercials, flyers, infomercials, the last thing you want to do when you get home is write some more for the next 4 hours. So moving to Key West and semi-retiring really gave both Greg, my partner, and I that freedom to sort of explore now our literary aspirations. We put the weekly paycheck thing aside to a degree, and we're able to really focus on our creative talent that we thought and hoped we had within us.
Well, you do. You absolutely do. And your cover is great, by the way.
Isn't
like I
it?
said, it makes you want to jump back into bed.
It really does.
Why did you do this to us?
It is. It's great. The artistic designer who did this for the publisher, Anne McCain, did just a beautiful job of getting the loneliness that you do. You feel like if you lay your head on that cool part of the pillow, that will be a complete bed then. Sleep will come finally. So
finally. Well, it's perfect, and we're going to talk all about it. We're going to take a quick break right now, but we'll be right back after these messages. I'm talking with recently published author Rodney Ross. Stay with me. I'm spending some time this morning talking with recently published author Rodney Ross. Now, Rodney's a little new to this area, as we mentioned, Rodney.
Indeed, yes. 3 years. I would say that pretty much makes us a veteran, but we've not had, since we've lived here, we've not had a hurricane evacuation yet. I think I'm supposed to say H word and not hurricane. Anyway, so you're not really, you don't live in Key West until you have to hightail it out of town once. So.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Let's hope not. Yes, indeed.
All right, let's talk about the cool part of his pillow.
Okay, the cool part of his pillow, basically is about what kicks it off is my narrator, Barry Grooms, is a gay man of a certain age in his mid-40s, living a magical, enviable life, owns his own design gallery, partnered 2 beautiful pug dogs, and then on his 45th birthday, a hideous construction crane collapse takes both his partner and the dogs and their Mercedes. Oh, no. And not only that, but somebody who happened to be videotaping nearby captures it all on video, and it ends up on YouTube. So he gets to see his partner's death go viral. And it's the next year or so of him navigating the surreal conveyor belt of grief, the good advice of friends and family, people's agendas sometimes, and how he actually reinvents and repurposes his life. And the chapter does take place in Key West. Okay. This is one place that he seeks consolation and answers. Okay,
it sounds very interesting. I'm very intrigued. Now, what do you hope that readers kind of get from this book, Rodney?
I really hope that, even though this book is definitely LGBTQ, all these acronyms, it's very gay specific as far as the character goes, I hope people take away not only a sense of survival in uniquely hideous circumstances, but also a sense of humor that, which sounds odd, but I'm going to use a tired quote from Steel Magnolias, and that is, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. Sometimes the best way to actually get through really hard things is to find something to latch on and laugh at. And that's what I hope the book has. It's very dark humor, a lot of irony. A couple of reviews online have said the narrator is downright snarky, but he's not coming from a healthy, well place yet. So he's very suspicious, very bitter. He sees other couples still together and is angry, you know, why are they still partnered and I am alone at 45? What options do I have? So I hope people take away that you can prevail no matter what, and that humor and a smile will help you.
I love that. The survivor mentality. Right
Indeed,
there.
Indeed. It's not a self-help book, but if you find that in there, perfect. Go for it.
All right. Where do you get inspiration at here in Key West, Rodney?
I certainly get inspiration from the island itself. There are so many literary ghosts here. Certainly Hemingway, Tennessee Williams, and so many great writers that live here in town now. Judy Blume, David Sloan, who was on, I mean, he's a noted Key West writer. I get a lot of inspiration from that, but by and large, I think just the atmosphere here, that it's very relaxed, it's very, not even tolerant, because I really don't like that word, it's very all-encompassing here, and I feel inspired just by the freedom that all of that entails. Riding out by my pool, riding on my front porch, I have an idea when I'm taking a bike ride, I always have a pen and paper handy. So this island has really freed both I and my partner in a way of exploring a side of us that we really couldn't when we were in the big city and working, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So.
Okay, now you mentioned a handful of authors. Let's talk about who would be one author, historical or living, that you would love to meet and talk with.
I say this in every interview, every time I'm asked, and that is John Irving, who probably is most notably known for The World According to Garp, The Hotel New Hampshire. He has a new book called In One Person. I was inspired by him as an adolescent, and I still am. His writing is so vibrant and descriptive and vivid. He is not afraid to do awful things to his characters and watch them somehow wriggle out of bad situations or survive. And so I really look to his work and his whole example and his output as something I would aspire to. I'm a first-time author, so I have a long way to go to be John Irving or even touch the hem of his nightgown.
Okay, well, you're going to do it. You are,
I hope
Rodney.
so. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, before we go, what advice would you have for other aspiring writers out there, Rodney?
I would say beyond, obviously, writing, they should read. they should read and they should read and they should read some more until their eyes fall out of their sockets. You cannot be a good writer unless you're informed by other people's writing. And so I would say have your nose in a book at all times, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, biography, the trashiest beach read. You learn something from everything you write, and the takeaway from that, and for me, has been I've seen some of the pitfalls, some of the plot twists that didn't work, and so I know when I'm writing, avoid that, Rodney. Don't put yourself in a corner. I would say read.
Read.
Absolutely.
Like that. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Sharing information about the book, and where can people find it?
Absolutely. You can certainly, if you're going to shop locally, you can go to Key West Island Books on Fleming, right across from Fausto's, and find it there. You can also go, of course, to Amazon.com. It's on Kindle, Barnes & Noble, it's on Nook, various other e-reader sites. You can also go to DreamSpinnerPress.com, my publisher. They also have it for sale.
Wonderful. Check it out, or email Rodney as well. His email address is on the screen. I'm going to take a quick break right now, but I'll be right back after these messages. Stay with me.